There comes a moment in every life when you must decide whether you will be a slave to circumstance or the master of your own inner world. The world will test you. People will misunderstand you. Life will seem unfair. But in that very moment, when storms rage and foundations shake, if you can act as if nothing affects you, everything changes. Because you no longer live as a reactor to life, you rise as a creator of it. Your silence becomes strength, your calm becomes power, and your composure becomes a weapon more potent than anger or fear. When you act as if nothing affects you, you declare something profound to the universe, that your peace is no longer for sale. You cease to be a puppet pulled by invisible strings of opinion, failure, or success. You detach from the illusion that the world owes you something and awaken to the truth that everything external is merely a mirror of your internal state. This is not arrogance, it is spiritual maturity. It is the quiet knowing that no event, no rejection, no loss can diminish the greatness that resides within. Most people live reacting to life, tossed around by praise and blame, elation and disappointment. They become victims of emotion, enslaved by the temporary. But you must rise above that. You must learn the sacred art of stillness in the storm. When the world pushes, you do not push back. When chaos erupts, you do not respond with noise. You simply remain unmoved, centered, certain that all things are unfolding for your good. In that composure lies divine strength. To act as if nothing affects you is not to be indifferent. It is to be deeply aware, yet untouchable. It is the consciousness of one who has tasted truth and refuses to be bound by illusion. You understand that every challenge is an invitation to prove your mastery, every hardship a disguised teacher sent to refine your soul. When you stop fighting what is and instead rise above it, life begins to serve you rather than oppose you. There is a law that governs the unseen world. What you do not react to loses its power over you. Every insult, every delay, every disappointment seeks your reaction, for that is how it feeds. But the moment you stand in quiet confidence and offer nothing in return, it starves, and soon it disappears from your life altogether. You become untouchable not because you resist life, but because you have aligned yourself with a higher rhythm that transcends it. Think of a mountain. The winds beat upon it, the rain falls, lightning strikes, but the mountain does not move. It endures. And because it endures, it commands reverence. Be like that mountain. Let the world do what it must. You remain rooted in purpose. Let people speak what they will. You remain anchored in truth. The one who remains calm when others panic becomes the guiding light that others follow. That is leadership in its purest form. Not loud, not forceful, but radiantly unshakable. When you master the art of acting as if nothing affects you, doors open that were once closed. Opportunities that once fled from your anxiety now return to your composure. People sense your calm and are drawn to it. Life itself reorganizes around your steadiness. Because in truth, nothing external can move what is anchored in the eternal. Do not misunderstand. This path is not easy. It demands that you abandon the need for validation, the hunger for control, and the addiction to reaction. But when you rise above these impulses, you become free. You begin to see that peace is not found in perfect conditions, but in perfect alignment with self. The one who acts as if nothing affects them is not cold-hearted. They are divinely protected. They have found the inner temple that cannot be shaken. You must remember this truth. The moment you stop allowing life to provoke you, you start to provoke life into serving you. What once tested you begins to transform you. What once angered you begins to awaken you. What once scared you begins to strengthen you. And what once controlled you begins to obey you. Because life responds not to your emotions, but to your energy. And calmness is the highest frequency of power. So learn this sacred principle. Act as if nothing affects you. When you master that art, you are no longer shaped by the world. You shape it. The universe bows to the one who cannot be moved, for that soul has become one with the eternal flow of truth. When you detach, you do not lose, you ascend. You rise above the noise, above fear, above circumstance, and from that height everything changes. There is a divine mystery that few souls ever grasp, the power to remain untouched in a world obsessed with reaction. Most people live their lives responding to every vibration around them, swayed by opinions, disturbed by circumstances, shattered by loss, inflated by praise. But the one who learns to act as if nothing affects them has discovered the rarest form of mastery, the mastery of self. This is not about pretending that feelings do not exist. It is about standing so firmly in truth that feelings no longer dictate the course of your destiny. To act as if nothing affects you is to realize that peace is a choice, not a condition. It is to walk through the fire and not be burned, to face rejection and still feel whole, to encounter chaos and remain calm. The world will always test your equilibrium, but each test is an opportunity to affirm your dominion over your inner state. For the one who remains unmoved becomes a vessel through which divine intelligence operates with clarity and strength. Every day you are being invited to choose reaction or creation. When you react, you surrender your power to the external world. You let others determine your mood, your confidence, your direction. But when you act from stillness, as if nothing affects you, you take back that authority. You declare to the universe that nothing outside of you has the right to disturb the harmony within. This declaration alters everything. It shifts your vibration from that of need and fear to one of abundance and certainty. You begin to attract rather than chase, to command rather than plead, to create rather than react. And the irony is that once you cease being desperate for outcomes, life rushes to serve you. You must understand that detachment is not indifference. It is alignment. It is the realization that all things come and go, but your essence remains. When you no longer cling to possessions, relationships, or circumstances for validation, you become unshakable. The loss of one opportunity does not trouble you, for you know that life is abundant and the right door will open in divine timing. The betrayal of one person does not poison you, for you trust that truth always reveals itself. To act as if nothing affects you is to stand so rooted in faith that disappointment becomes direction and delay becomes preparation. It is to live in a state of perpetual trust that every event, no matter how painful, serves your evolution. The greatest illusion in life is that outer conditions determine inner peace. This is why so many chase money, status, or love, believing that these will bring security. But security that depends on anything external is fragile. True power begins when you can look at everything around you, your failures, your successes, your blessings, your losses, and say, none of this defines me. The moment you say that with conviction, the chains of dependence break. You become a master of energy, not a prisoner of emotion. This is the state that wise souls strive for, a peace that is not disturbed by praise or criticism, a confidence that does not crumble under defeat, a faith that does not waver when the path is dark. You will find that the more detached you become, the more magnetic you grow. This may seem paradoxical, but it is a universal law. People and opportunities are drawn to calm energy. Why? Because calmness signifies abundance. It tells the world, I do not need anything to complete me. That vibration is irresistible. It attracts wealth, love, success, and peace without effort. The desperate chase repels what it desires, but the detached attract effortlessly. To act as if nothing affects you is to stand in that magnetic power, to be the still center in a spinning world, the eye of the storm where everything finds balance. In truth, no one can harm you unless you grant them the power to. No event can break you unless you choose to interpret it as failure. When you refuse to react, you reclaim the creative authority that was always yours. The universe mirrors your internal state. So when you act as if you are unbothered, at peace, unafraid, the outer world rearranges itself to match that vibration. Even in the face of chaos, your calm sends a silent command, I am in control. And so it is. The world begins to conform to your energy instead of you conforming to its instability. The moment you realize that nothing outside of you holds the key to your peace, You enter a new realm of existence. You no longer seek to fix the world, you rise above it. You stop waiting for others to apologize or for conditions to improve. You withdraw the power you once gave to circumstance and reinvest it into your own consciousness. This is where transformation begins. The moment you cease reacting, you begin creating a higher order of life. You transcend the laws of emotion and move into the laws of energy and vibration. You start to operate as a being of purpose, not preference. You will be misunderstood. Some will think you are cold. Others will believe you do not care. Let them think what they must. Your peace is not for public approval. The calm within you is sacred. It is born of self-knowledge and fortified by faith. The more you grow in spiritual awareness, the less you need to explain yourself. You understand that silence can be more powerful than argument, composure more persuasive than words. In this silence, you hear the whisper of the eternal, the reminder that you are not your circumstances, you are consciousness itself, unbreakable, limitless, eternal. Life will continue to test your composure. Challenges will come in waves. People will betray your trust. Plans will fall apart. But these are not punishments. They are initiations. Each test is an opportunity to prove your spiritual strength. To act as if nothing affects you is not to deny emotion, but to master it. You may feel the sting of disappointment, but you do not dwell in it. You may experience pain, but you do not become it. You acknowledge, release, and rise higher. The one who can do this walks in freedom that few ever experience. Remember always, your reactions are the keys that either lock or unlock your potential. Every time you remain calm when you could have reacted, you expand your dominion over self. Every time you choose faith over fear, you ascend to a higher level of being. The world will never stop testing you. But once you learn to act as if nothing affects you, you stop being tested. You start being trusted. Life entrusts you with greater responsibilities, deeper peace, and higher power because you have proven worthy of them. This is the essence of mastery, to live so anchored in purpose that no storm can uproot you, to remain poised when others panic, to trust the process when nothing makes sense, to act as if nothing affects you, not out of pride, but from the knowing that everything happening around you is only shaping the strength within you. When you reach that state, you will see that the entire world changes, not because it has, but because you have. There is a sacred threshold a person crosses when they no longer live as a product of what happens to them, but as a reflection of who they have chosen to become. To act as if nothing affects you is not a denial of feeling. It is the triumph of spirit over impulse. It is the realization that every emotion, every reaction, every storm that rises within is an opportunity to demonstrate command. Those who master this law of detachment stand among the few who truly understand the structure of power. For power is not loud, it is not aggressive, and it is not dependent on circumstances. It is silent, deliberate, and deeply rooted in faith. The person who can face loss, betrayal, or chaos and remain still has discovered the divine posture of kingship over self. In every moment of your lives, something is trying to pull you outward. Opinions, disappointments, temptations, fears. The world thrives on reaction because reaction is energy, and most people give theirs away without thought. You will know the strength of a soul not by how they act when everything is in their favor, but by how composed they remain when the universe withdraws its comfort. To act as if nothing affects you is to live from the awareness that nothing has power unless you grant it authority. The energy of calmness disarms the forces that seek to shake you. Your stillness becomes a shield. Your quietness becomes a fortress. Understand this truth: the person who controls your emotions controls you. When anger possesses you, it commands your judgment. When fear grips you, it dictates your decisions. When doubt clouds your mind, it robs you of vision. But when you act as if nothing affects you, you are no longer ruled by these intruders. You become the ruler of them. You turn emotion into information, pain into instruction, and adversity into initiation. You begin to see life not as a battlefield, but as a classroom where every challenge is designed to refine your mastery. You realize that emotional detachment is not coldness. It is wisdom. It is the understanding that reacting to everything only multiplies confusion, but responding from calm multiplies power. There is a vibration that emanates from a composed soul, an energy that speaks louder than words. It says, I trust life. I am anchored in something deeper than circumstance. That vibration attracts harmony, clarity, and abundance, because when the mind is still, the higher intelligence of the universe can move through you. But when the mind is in turmoil, the channel of creation becomes blocked. Acting as if nothing affects you opens that channel wide. It allows you to move with the current of life rather than against it. It allows wisdom to speak through your silence and destiny to unfold without resistance. You will notice that the moment you stop reacting to chaos, the chaos begins to dissolve. The energy that once sought to disturb you loses its grip. The people who once provoked you lose their influence. The situations that once frightened you begin to fade from your path. This is the silent alchemy of detachment. The things that feed on your reaction cannot survive your indifference. When you no longer feed pain with attention, it starves. When you no longer feed fear with belief, it dissolves. When you no longer feed drama with participation, it vanishes. The world outside of you begins to bend to the serenity inside of you. To act as if nothing affects you is to see life from the mountaintop, not the valley. From above, you understand that everything is temporary. The praise, the insult, the gain, the loss, nothing lasts except the state of consciousness from which you perceive it. The wise do not chase fleeting satisfaction. They cultivate enduring peace. They understand that the goal is not to avoid storms, but to become unshakable in the midst of them. This is not an attitude. It is a spiritual practice. It demands discipline, patience, and unwavering faith. You must train your mind to pause before it reacts, your tongue to hold silence before it speaks, and your heart to trust before it fears. In those pauses, you access the divine mind within you. Every test you face is a call to strengthen that stillness. When you are insulted, can you remain calm? When your plans collapse, can you trust the unseen order? When fear whispers in your ear, can you answer with faith? Each time you do, you grow in stature. You become less of a body reacting to the world and more of a soul creating it. Acting as if nothing affects you is not pretending. It is remembering that your essence cannot be harmed. You are spirit, not circumstance, consciousness, not confusion. You exist beyond what happens to you. Do not expect the world to understand this way of living. People will try to provoke your response because they do not yet understand the peace you possess. They may call your silence weakness or your calm detachment pride. But stand firm in your knowing. Their judgment reveals their bondage to reaction. Your composure reveals your freedom from it. In time, the same people who misunderstood you will be drawn to your stillness. They will seek the peace you embody. You will become a lighthouse in their storm. And when life presents you with its greatest losses, remember this: even in grief, there is grace. You may feel the pain, but you need not become it. You can stand in sorrow and still remain at peace. The heart can break and yet expand in love. Acting as if nothing affects you does not mean you stop feeling. It means you stop identifying with what you feel. You become the observer of emotion, not its prisoner. You begin to experience the world from a higher dimension of awareness, where every emotion is simply energy passing through, not something that defines who you are. This detachment opens the gateway to divine manifestation. When you stop reacting, you enter the frequency of creation. You stop pushing and start allowing. The universe aligns effortlessly with your vibration of peace. This is the paradox of spiritual power. The less you try to control, the more control you gain. The less you need, the more you attract. The less you chase, the more that chases you. By acting as if nothing affects you, you declare that you are already complete, already fulfilled, already whole. And life mirrors that completeness back to you in every form, through health, opportunity, abundance, and love. There will come a day when you realize that nothing was ever happening to you. It was always happening for you. The betrayals taught you trust in yourself. The failures trained your perseverance. The heartbreaks purified your attachments. Every experience was a sculptor shaping your spirit into perfection. To act as if nothing affects you is to walk through life knowing that every blow is a blessing in disguise. You no longer resist the lesson, you embrace it. You no longer fight the flow, you merge with it. When you master this, you will not need to announce your strength. It will announce itself in your presence. You will not need to defend your peace. It will defend you. You will walk into rooms and shift the energy without speaking a word. People will feel something in you, something unmovable, unbothered, divine. And you will know that this was the reward of your inner labor. You will know that to act as if nothing affects you is not to ignore life, but to transcend it. And from that state, everything that once felt impossible begins to obey your calm, because peace is not the absence of storms, it is the power to stand above them. When you learn to act as if nothing affects you, you enter a realm few ever experience, the realm of quiet power. In this place, you no longer live in reaction to life, you live in creation with it. You understand that external events are not happening against you, but through you for your growth, refinement, and awakening. You become a conscious participant in your own evolution. Most people exist as emotional echoes of the world around them. If life smiles, they smile. If it frowns, they collapse. But the awakened soul knows that peace cannot depend on conditions, for conditions change like the wind. Peace must come from the root of understanding that nothing has meaning until you give it meaning, and meaning is power. The one who controls the meaning of events controls the energy that flows through them. When you decide that no event will disturb your inner balance, you are no longer a victim of circumstance. You become a master of perspective. The same storm that destroys another man's foundation strengthens yours, because you have chosen to see differently. This is the secret. Life does not respond to your struggle. It responds to your state. When your state is anchored in calm, your reality aligns with that calm. The mind that is unshaken draws clarity. The heart that is undisturbed draws abundance. And the soul that is detached draws divine order. Acting as if nothing affects you does not mean being passive. It means being powerful in silence. You have reached a point where reaction has no benefit, where the only response worthy of your energy is understanding. There is tremendous wisdom in non-reaction. It is the wisdom of the universe itself. Look at nature. The sun does not argue with the clouds. It simply waits and shines again. The ocean does not protest the storm. It absorbs it, and when calm returns, its reflection is clearer than before. So too must you learn this rhythm of stillness. When someone attacks you, remain silent and let their energy return to them. When life delays your plans, trust that something greater is aligning. When confusion enters, do not rush to fix it. Observe it, and it will resolve itself. To act as if nothing affects you is to live in partnership with divine timing. It is to know that your peace is more powerful than any problem that confronts you. This posture of detachment transforms how you see the world. You no longer chase what is fleeting. You no longer beg for what was never meant for you. You no longer seek validation from those who cannot even validate themselves. Instead, you walk with a quiet certainty that everything meant for you will find its way in its perfect season. The one who can remain still when others are restless becomes magnetic to miracles. Life bows to calm authority because calmness signals alignment. When you are unbothered, you are in tune with the source of all creation, and creation itself begins to work in your favor. You will come to realize that the greatest victories in life are internal. To win over yourself, to remain composed when provoked, peaceful when criticized, patient when tested, is the mark of true strength. The person who cannot be offended cannot be controlled. The one who refuses to argue cannot be defeated. The one who stays calm in crisis cannot be broken. Every time you respond with serenity, you step deeper into mastery. You begin to see that your inner world is the seed from which your outer world grows. If the seed is disturbed, the harvest will be chaotic. But if the seed is planted in stillness, the harvest will be abundant and sure. This path requires courage. It requires the strength to walk away from drama, to choose silence over proving your point, to trust timing over control. It asks you to rise above human impulses and live from divine awareness. You will have moments where your ego screams to defend itself, to react, to be right. Resist that urge. Nothing drains power faster than reaction. The energy you would spend fighting life can instead be invested in creating it. The more you detach, the more energy you preserve. And that preserved energy becomes clarity, intuition, and magnetic influence. You will start to sense things before they happen. You will act from vision rather than emotion. You will become deliberate in every move, and that deliberateness will draw success without noise. There is a subtle but profound truth. When you stop needing to control outcomes, outcomes begin to align effortlessly. Your resistance was the very barrier preventing flow. Acting as if nothing affects you dissolves that resistance. You move into harmony with what is. You stop trying to push the river and instead learn to flow with it. What once felt difficult becomes simple. What once seemed chaotic begins to make sense. You realize that peace was never the reward, it was the power all along. From that peace, you begin to create realities that reflect your inner balance. But understand, detachment does not mean withdrawal from life. It means engagement from a higher state. You still love deeply, but you no longer cling. You still pursue excellence, but you no longer fear failure. You still experience emotion, but you do not become it. You have learned to feel without drowning, to care without losing yourself. You see everything as temporary yet valuable. This balance between presence and detachment is the mark of a mature spirit. It allows you to participate fully in life while remaining free from its grip. As your detachment deepens, you will notice a divine shift. People will treat you differently. Opportunities will unfold without your chase. Circumstances that once triggered anxiety will no longer stir you. You will carry yourself with quiet assurance, and the world will respond accordingly. Life mirrors back to you what you are, not what you wish to be. When you act as if nothing affects you, you declare that you are in control of your vibration, and that vibration becomes your new reality. Those who live by reaction are tossed like leaves in the wind. They complain, they blame, they fear. But those who act as if nothing affects them stand like oak trees, rooted, still, eternal. They understand that everything visible is born from the invisible. The mind is the womb of reality. Therefore, what you hold steady within you will eventually appear around you. The one who maintains peace amid disturbance is the architect of destiny itself. And so, the discipline of acting as if nothing affects you becomes a way of life. You train yourself daily to pause, to breathe, to remember. You remind yourself that every disturbance is a test of your alignment. You learn to see through appearances and anchor in truth. You understand that nothing external is personal. It is all projection, reflection, and correction. You take nothing to heart except wisdom, nothing to memory except gratitude. Slowly, the chaos of the world begins to lose its grip, and your mind becomes a temple, silent, sacred, steady. Eventually, this practice becomes your natural state. You no longer need to remind yourself to remain calm. Calm becomes who you are. You no longer have to fake confidence. Confidence flows from the knowing that nothing can truly harm you. You no longer fear the unknown because you have met yourself within it. When you act as if nothing affects you, you live in the divine rhythm where everything serves you. You stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start knowing, "This is happening for me." And from that knowing, life becomes a beautiful symphony. Every note, even the discordant ones, perfectly placed in the melody of your becoming. There is a hidden greatness that awakens in the one who refuses to be moved by the noise of the world. When you learn to act as if nothing affects you, you begin to see life not as a battlefield of emotion, but as a sacred dance of energy. Everything that once disturbed you begins to lose meaning. The gossip fades, the criticism dissolves, and the chaos around you no longer shakes your foundation. You realize that peace was never something to be found. It was something to be remembered. It was within you all along, buried beneath layers of reaction, fear, and attachment. Acting as if nothing affects you is simply uncovering that peace and choosing to live from it. The untrained mind is like a restless sea, tossed by every wind of emotion, unable to hold form. But when you train the mind to be still, even in the presence of storms, you discover the vastness of your inner power. You become a master of vibration. You understand that you cannot control what life sends your way, but you can control the energy with which you meet it. When you meet adversity with calmness, it bends. When you meet insult with silence, it fades. When you meet fear with faith, it dissolves. The outer world rearranges itself according to the calmness of your inner state. This is not philosophy. It is spiritual law. There is strength in the soul that no external force can penetrate. That strength is born from detachment, from the ability to witness life without becoming entangled in its illusions. To act as if nothing affects you is to say, I am more than what happens to me. It is to know that every experience, no matter how painful, is temporary, and therefore unworthy of disturbing your eternal self. This awareness frees you. It allows you to walk through fire without being consumed, to face betrayal without bitterness, to stand in darkness without losing sight of the light within. Those who have mastered this way of being radiate an aura that commands respect without speaking a word. Their silence carries more power than the noise of 1,000 voices. Every reaction is a leak of energy. Every moment of anger, resentment, or fear is a drain on your creative life force. When you stop reacting, you stop leaking energy, and that preserved energy transforms into clarity, focus, and magnetism. You begin to move differently, speak differently, think differently. Your energy becomes deliberate, precise, and powerful. This is why those who act as if nothing affects them seem to have an aura of control and mystery. They are not suppressing emotion. They are transmuting it. They understand that emotion is energy, and energy can be redirected. What once would have provoked them now becomes fuel for creation. They rise above reaction and turn pain into purpose. To live this way is to live in harmony with truth. The truth is that life is not against you. It is responding to you. Every difficulty you encounter is a mirror showing you where you are still reactive, still attached, still enslaved by outcomes. The universe will repeat lessons until you respond differently. When you finally act as if nothing affects you, you pass the test. The cycle ends because there is nothing left to teach. You have transcended the frequency of struggle and entered the vibration of mastery. From that space, life becomes fluid. Things begin to unfold in your favor, not because you forced them, but because you aligned yourself with the calm order of the universe. This state of detachment is not lifeless. It is full of vitality, full of divine flow. You begin to move with grace. You do not need to rush because you know nothing can be taken from you. You do not need to prove yourself because truth stands firm without defense. You do not chase what is yours. It gravitates to you naturally. You no longer seek peace. You carry it with you wherever you go. The heart that acts as if nothing affects it is free from bondage. It loves without fear, gives without expectation, and lives without limitation. The power of such composure lies in awareness. Awareness is the guardian of your peace. The moment you become aware of a situation, you have the power to choose your response. Awareness says, I see the storm, but I choose not to be swept away. It is in that moment of choice that you reclaim your freedom. You are no longer a slave to instinct or habit. You are conscious. You can choose to smile instead of argue, to walk away instead of retaliate, to breathe instead of panic. These small acts of awareness accumulate into the great transformation of your being. Understand this. Your ability to remain unaffected does not make you heartless. It makes you wise. It means you have risen above the level of reaction and entered the realm of intention. It means you understand that life is not personal. It is purposeful. People act according to their level of consciousness, and events unfold according to divine order. To take things personally is to fight against reality. To detach is to align with it. You begin to live with a quiet acceptance that everything is exactly as it should be for your evolution. You stop asking, why me, and start saying, thank you for showing me. This practice of calm detachment opens a divine channel between you and the infinite intelligence that governs all creation. When the mind is calm, intuition flows. You begin to sense guidance from within, whispers of direction that lead you effortlessly toward what is meant for you. You make better decisions because they are not clouded by emotion. You see people clearly, not through the fog of projection or desire. You recognize opportunities that once passed unnoticed because you were too distracted by reaction. Acting as if nothing affects you places you in direct communication with the higher order of existence. You become a co-creator with life rather than a reactor to it. As you grow in this consciousness, even your presence becomes medicine. People will feel peace in your company. They may not understand it, but they will sense that you are anchored in something beyond circumstance. You become a reminder of what true power looks like. Not loud, not dominant, but serene and sovereign. This kind of power cannot be imitated. It is cultivated through inner discipline and spiritual awareness. It is the power of the one who has conquered themselves. Every challenge, every pain, every betrayal is an invitation to strengthen that inner sovereignty. When life tests you, do not resist the test. Welcome it as training. Each time you remain calm when you could have reacted, you fortify your foundation. Each time you choose silence when provoked, you rise higher in consciousness. Each time you forgive when wronged, you expand your spiritual authority. This is the true work of mastery. Not controlling others, but mastering the self so completely that nothing external can disturb your peace. And eventually, as you live this truth, something miraculous happens. The things that once frightened you no longer exist in your experience. The people who once drained you disappear from your reality. The chaos that once surrounded you finds no entry into your vibration. You have risen beyond the level where those energies can reach you. This is the secret that the wise have always known. The world does not change when you conquer it. The world changes when you conquer yourself. When you act as if nothing affects you, you no longer participate in the drama of life. You transcend it. And from that higher ground, life itself bows to your peace. When you reach the point where nothing external can disturb your inner stillness, you have entered the highest realm of mastery. You have discovered that true strength is not found in control, but in surrender to divine order, not in resistance, but in peace, not in noise, but in silence. The one who acts as if nothing affects them lives in perfect alignment with truth. They do not chase, they attract. They do not react, they create. They do not crumble, they rise. Life becomes a mirror of their calm, a servant of their serenity. In this sacred state, you no longer need to prove your power. It radiates effortlessly. You no longer seek validation. It flows naturally from within. The storms that once terrified you now reveal their purpose, and every trial becomes a teacher. You stand rooted, untouchable, luminous. This is not indifference, it is divine freedom. For when you master yourself, the world obeys your calm, and from that stillness, everything that once seemed impossible begins to unfold with grace, precision, and perfect timing. In that moment, you will know you have become one with peace itself, and through that peace, everything changes.